Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss about the National Education Policy 2020. The government on 29th of July unveiled the new National Education Policy 2020 after it was approved by the Union Cabinet, and Ministry of Human Resource Development has now been renamed as Ministry of Education. Why this rename has been done? Because Human Resource Development Ministry has two functions, education as well as skill development, but the skill development is also done by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So there was overlap of functions between HRD Ministry and Skill Ministry. So to give a dedicated ministry to education, this HRD ministry has now been renamed as Ministry of Education. And this new national education policy has been adopted after widespread consultation involving 2 lakh suggestions from 2.5 lakh gram panchayat, 6600 blocks, 6000 urban local bodies and 676 districts. So before dwelling into the key provisions of the new national education policy, let's see the evolution of the education policy. In the year 1948-49, University Education Commission came, which made a number of significant recommendations on various aspects of higher education. Then in 1952-53, Secondary Education Commission came, whose main aim was to inquire into the problems of secondary education and its relationship to primary and secondary education. Then in the year 1964-66, under Dr. D.S. Kothari, Education Commission was made. This commission recommended the educational expenditure of 6% of GDP to be achieved by the fiscal year 1985-86. After that, in the year 1986, National Policy on Education was formulated under Indira Gandhi regime. Then by 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, education was transferred to concurrent list. Then in 1986, under regime of Rajiv Gandhi, National Education Policy was formulated, and this National Education Policy was modified little bit in the year 1992. Then in 2016, TSR Subramaniam Committee report came, which is Committee for the Evolution of National Education Policy, and in 2019, Dr. K. Kasturi Ranjan Committee report came, Committee for the Draft NEP. So the new education policy is based on these two committees' report. Now let's see some of the constitutional provisions of education. Article 15 subclause 5 is there, which says admission of socially and educationally backward classes of citizens to educational institutions. Then Article 21A says right to education. Article 28 says religious education. Article 29 and 30 talks about the minority education. Article 45, which is regarding right to free and compulsory education below 6 years. Then we have Article 46, which is regarding promotion of education and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other weaker sections of the society. Then we have fundamental duties, and in which subclause H says develop scientific temper. Then Article 350 subclause A says instruction in mother tongue at primary stage, and Article 351 says promotion of Hindi. Now let's see the vision of the National Education Policy 2020. So the vision is regarding to make an education system that contribute to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. Also to develop a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental rights, duties and constitutional values, bonding with one's country and a conscious awareness of one's role and responsibility in a changing world, and to instill skills, values and dispositions that support the responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. Now let's see the key principles of National Education Policy. So in that, let's first see what all changes has been done for the school education. The very first thing which has been done is that it aims for the universalization of education, that is from preschool to secondary level, 100% gross enrollment ratio by 2030. By doing this, it will bring back 2 crore out of school children to mainstream via open schooling system. Then Early Childhood Care and Education, ECCE, with new curricular and pedagogical structure. In this, the 10 plus 2 structure of school curricula is to be replaced by 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curricular structure corresponding to ages 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, 14 to 18 years respectively. This will bring the hitherto uncovered age group of 3 to 6 years under school curriculum, which has been recognized globally as the crucial stage for the development of mental faculties of the child. So now there will be total 12 years of schooling with 3 years of Anganwadi preschooling. So main aim of early childhood care and education is to ensure that all students entering grade 1 are school ready. Now there is new curriculum which lays emphasis on foundation literacy and numeracy from grade 1 to 3 by 2025. This fundamental changes has been done because the Asia report, which is published by the NGO Pratham, said class 5 students are unable to solve mathematics problem of standard 2 and also the vocabulary problems of standard 2. So this time emphasis has been laid on foundation literacy and numeracy. Now there is reforms in curricula and pedagogy also, that the vocational education to start from standard 6 along with internship like coding will be there. Then we have multilingualism and power of language. In this, the media of instruction and teaching up to at least grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 or beyond in mother tongue. No language to be imposed on any student. Sanskrit to be offered at all levels of school and higher education as an option for students, including in the 3 language formula. Then there has been changes in the assessment reforms also. All students will take school education in grade 3, 5, 8, which will be conducted by the appropriate authority. Board exam for grade 10 and 12 will be continued, but redesigned with holistic development as the aim. Then there is some changes for the teachers also. National Curriculum Framework for Teachers Education 2021 done in the consultation with NCERT. This is for the continuous evaluation of the teachers and training also. Idea is by 2030 minimum degree for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree for the teachers. Now coming to the higher education, the very first thing is increasing the gross enrollment ratio to 50% by 2035. 3.5 crore new seats has been added to the higher educational institutions. Policy envisaged broad-based, multidisciplinary, holistic undergraduate education with following features: flexible curricula, creative combination of subjects, integration of vocational subjects, multiple exit and entry points with appropriate certification. In this, creative combination of subject means, suppose in a university, if a student is doing civil engineering, then he should also have the knowledge of environment also. So he can do another course, environment with civil engineering, so that he can understand the impact of the construction which he or she is going to make on the environment. So this is kind of creative combination of subjects. Multiple exit and entry points with appropriate certification means now the undergraduation will be of either 3 or 4 years with multiple entry and exit option. That is, 1 year is he or she will be getting a certificate. For 2, if somebody is doing it for 2 years, he or she will be getting advanced diploma. For 3 years, he or she will be getting bachelor's degree, and for 4 years, he or she will be getting bachelor's degree with research. Now the second thing in higher education is academic bank of credit, which is to be established for digitally storing academic credits earned from different higher educational institutions, so that these can be transferred and counted towards final degree earned. Suppose student A has taken up admission in institution I1, but later on wants to change to institution I2. But what will happen to all the credits that had been earned by A in institution I1? So these credits will be stored in academic bank of credit, so that at the time of getting the final degree, all those credits will be included in the final degree. So this is the function of this academic bank of credit. Then we have the National Research Foundation, which will be created as an apex body for fostering a strong research culture and building research capacity across higher education. This is helpful because most of the time students who has to research, they go abroad to do this thing. Now we have a dedicated institution for the research, so that we will be filing more patents and doing everything from our country, and also to change the thinking that we have. We students, they think in this way that we have to do research to earn, but now the focus will be more on filing patents. Now the next thing is Higher Commission Education of India. The regulation of Higher Education Commission now will be done by the Higher Education Commission of India, which will be so single overarching regulator for higher education excluding medical and legal education. It will replace UGC and AICTE. It will have four independent verticals: National Higher Education Regulatory Council (NHERC) for the regulation, then General Education Council (GEC) for standard setting, Higher Educational Grants Commission (HEGC) for funding, National Accreditation Council (NEC) for accreditation. National education policy will do away with distinction between private and public sector colleges with respect to regulation, standard setting, and accreditation. Difference would be there regarding funding only. Affiliation of college is to be phased out in 15 years, and a stage-wise mechanism is to be established for granting graded autonomy to the colleges. Over a period of time, it is envisaged that every college will develop into either an autonomous degree granting college or a constituent college of a university. Now there were some other changes also done with this national education policy. There were National Education Technology Forum (NETF), which will be an autonomous body for the exchange of ideas on use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning, and administration. Then promotion of Indian languages, setting an institute of translation and interpretation, National Institute for Pali, Persian, and Prakrit. Why Pali, Persian, and Prakrit? Because Hindi is formulated from these three languages. Now, Gender Inclusion Fund and Special Education Zone for disadvantaged regions and group. It also paves the way for foreign university to enter our country. Top 100 universities of world can set up their campuses. How this university will be selected? From the QS ranking. Now let's see the criticism of this national education policy, so that we can do the critical analysis of this topic also. So national education policy does not say anything specifically on children of parents with transferable jobs, or who are in government jobs or in defense personnel. Suppose why? Because in the national education policy it is saying that students preferably till standard 5th should be given instructions in mother tongue. But what about those students who are from North India and whose father has been transferred to the South India, or vice versa? So this is one of the criticism. And then second one is, what are the implications on majority of those covered under the acronym SEDG, socially and educationally disadvantaged group? Nothing has been said about this. Also absent is the mention of reservation in academic institutions, whether for students, teachers, or other employees. Reservation necessary but not sufficient is the bare minimum required in terms of affirmative action in the highly differentiated socio-economic millennia in which we exist. Silence on the document on issue is troubling, to say at least. There are some good elements in national education policy that will generate friction and need only adequate resourcing. Provision of energy-filled breakfast in addition to nutritious midday meal to help children achieve better learning outcomes is one. Creation of inclusion fund to help socially and educationally disadvantaged children pursue education is another. So these were some criticism. Since the policy is still in its preliminary and cursory stage, so nothing more can be said about it. Devil lies in the detail, and the document is also not out yet, so it will be very early to comment on it. So this was all which we needed to do in this National Education Policy 2020. Thank you so much.